third base. Carlos Pena, the anchor of their lineup, leading the league in homers, followed by Pat Burrell, Willie Ibar. Their bottom three is Greg Zahn, Gabe Gross, and B.J. Upton. Here is the scouting report on Rick Porcello. It is brought to you, as always, by Dodge.
Porcello's a ground ball thrower and throws about 2.5 ground balls per every fly ball, but he's been giving up a few home runs lately, so he'll need to concentrate on keeping the ball in the ballpark today. And one way to do that is pitch ahead. If you're not forced into throwing four-seam fastballs behind the count, you can keep the ball in the yard. And this is the first time he has seen the Tampa Bay Rays. It could be an advantage for the youngster, at least the first time through the batting order. Let's take a look at the Tigers' defense behind Porcello. It's presented by Chrysler and Jeep Superstores. You've got Guillen, Granderson, Ordonez in the outfield. Inge, Everett, Polanco leads the American League with a .996 fielding percentage. And the slugger, the big guy, Cabrera over at first. G-Money, Gerald Laird behind the dish. And you know that Porcello is on the mound.
And a couple of starts ago, Rick Porcello had a very good outing against Seattle. Maybe a little bit of a step back against Oakland in his last outing.
Well, he's gotten stronger as the season has gone on. That fastball is anywhere from 92 with good sink, or he could throw a four-seamer 95, 96. Comes in 10-8 with a respectable earned run average. Sometimes you forget that Porcello is just 20 years old.
So Rick is ready to go, and so are we. A little bit of a delay to the start of tonight's ball game, but we will have baseball here tonight as Jason Bartlett of the Tampa Bay Rays steps in. And Rick Porcello ready to deliver the first pitch of the ball game. It's a fastball missing high, 1-0. A 16-minute rain delay for this one here tonight, and our game time temperature is 63 degrees. Next pitch is rolled foul down the third base line. 1 ball and 1 strike.
After having a great season last year, Bartlett, he has career highs and career RBIs, home runs and RBIs this year. What a nice player he is.
He really has turned into a stunningly nice player. 344 batting average, among the best in the AL. And he's been there all season long for the most part.
Yeah, these are the types of counts that I said Porcello must try to stay out of. 2 balls, 1 strike, where he's forced into throwing that fastball right down the middle.
He does there, and it's taken for strike 2. 2-2 on the leadoff man, Jason Bartlett. 6 for his last 12, so he has been hot. Bartlett in the leadoff slot these days instead of B.J. Upton. There's a slow roller hit towards second base. Polanco on the charge. And 1 gone.
That's the kind of late life that Porcello has on his fastball. When he is finishing out in front, take a look at this ball. Just kind of slide in on the hands of Bartlett. As a hitter, you see it down the middle. All of a sudden, the movement on it runs it on the hands, and therefore you get a weak ground ball to second base. Real good pitch by Porcello.
And already his first ground ball of the night. Here is Carl Crawford. Crawford missed a couple of games with a crispy back, but he is back in there tonight and batting a solid .316. What a year he has had. Tigers just got done with a series against a team that if you put a few of their guys on the bases, you knew that they were going to run. Well, it's the same here with Carl Crawford. 59, or make it 54 stolen bases. His career high is 59.
Well, if you add a couple of those guys from the Angels club with a couple of these guys from Tampa, you'd have yourself a real nice 4x4 100 relay.
It'd be tough to beat. There's a strike, 2-2. Joe Madden brought his team to the World Series last year, surprising all of baseball. Another chopper, this one in front of the plate. Who wants it? Laird is not going to be able to make the play. A break there for Carl Crawford. He's aboard.
A little miscommunication there between Porcello and Laird, but I don't think they get Crawford anyway. He runs way too well. And you could see that they weren't quite sure who was going to take that. And Gerald reached down to try to pick it up and came up empty. And now you have to see how bad the back is of Crawford, who missed a few games, because obviously if you're running and sliding and diving back into first base, if Porcello's throwing over there, that's not going to help the back at all.
Crawford has been caught 11 times this year with his 54 steals. First pitch way high to Evan Longoria. Batting .269, a career high 88 RBIs for Longoria. That is hit slowly toward the third baseman. Inge bobbles it and has no play.
It's too bad. The youngster's going to have to pitch himself out of a jam here in the first. He does have that good sinker ball working today. However, if he gets another one of those, he'll get himself a double play to get out of this inning. It looked like Inge may have looked up just at the last second here, causing the ball to hit right off the tip of the glove. Right there. And Brandon was also trying to position his body in a way that it was carrying him back toward first base, which would have taken less stress off of the throwing arm.
Well, the Rays have not hit a ball hard yet, but they have a couple of men on here with only one out, and here is their cleanup man, Carlos Pena, with 91 RBIs. Time called as Porcello was ready to bring it home. That was an extremely late time given by home plate umpire Jerry Davis. By the way, the ruling on that last play was an error. E5 to Brandon Inge. So an infield hit and an error. And Pena looks at a strike. Crawford, the runner at second. Longoria occupying first base, just underway after a 16-minute rain delay tonight here at the ballpark. First of 7 at home for the Tigers. They have 4 here against the Tampa Bay Rays. Pena takes one inside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a good pitch right there by Porcello. That'll keep the left-handed Pena from leaning out over the dish. And you straighten him up, and then you go back down and away with a real good two-seam fastball or changeup or breaking ball and try to get the ground ball, which he's already gotten 3 of to the first 3 hitters. He tried it. Pena wasn't biting.
2-1 on Carlos. He hit 3 home runs in their recently completed series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Pena has 37 home runs, which leads the American League. That's 37 homers to go with 35 singles. He's got more homers than base hits. And he drives one down the right field line, but it's going to hook foul.
37 home runs and 35 singles?
2 more homers than singles, and it's really kind of strange to look at. Here's the rest of the breakdown. He's got 2 triples, 22 doubles.
I guess you can say that literally his contact to damage ratio is off the charts.
Well, for a guy batting .222 to have 91 RBIs, he must be hitting some 3-run homers as well. 2-2 on Pena, the former Tiger. And he got him. Strike 3 in the outside corner. Porcello painted that time. 2 gone.
Of course, when you hit all the home runs that Pena hits, you're going to strike out a bunch. And that's just a really good two-seam fastball that Gerald Laird did a very nice job of framing and holding there for the home plate umpire, Jerry Davis.
So now Pat Burrell will step in. Burrell at .240 this year. Came over from the Philadelphia Phillies. He was signed as a free agent in January. And boy, did he put up some big power numbers in his years with the Phillies. He spent 9 seasons there, and a good many of them featured a lot of homers and a lot of RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Where he
1998, first season that Burrell was originally drafted by the Phils. That's lifted foul, back out of play. 1-2.
Pat Burrell and Aubrey Huff were teammates in college at Miami. And we're out talking before the game while the tarp was still on the field. Well, Miami's had some really good players come through their program.
And 2 of them in the ballpark here tonight. Now Burrell steps out on Porcello, who has dealt a little bit of a tough hand here in the first inning with an INGE error, which has opened the door a bit. The 1-2. There's that 95-mile-an-hour fastball that we've seen a little bit more of here in the second half of the season. Just got a piece of that one to stay alive.
And he's got the ball going in each direction. That's a slider that's away from the right-hander. And, of course, we've already seen the real good two-seam fastball that he'll run away from the left-hander. So he's got it going east and west and north and south, adding and subtracting on a changeup. And usually when he gets himself into these situations, he doesn't panic. I mean, this kid's got a lot of poise, a real nice aptitude, good mound presence about him.
Highly impressive for his age. I mentioned his last start against Oakland, not quite as good as the start before that against Seattle when he looked dominant for about 5 innings. Now he's run the count full at 3-2, which means the runners will be going here. Head start for both Crawford and Longoria. Three-two pitch. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. He strikes out Burrell to retire the side. A couple of strikeouts back to back for Rick Porcello. Tigers starting lineup tonight is presented by Big Boy. Granderson at center, Polanco at second, Maglio Ordonez. How about 7-14 career against Garza? Red hot Miguel Cabrera batting cleanup. Aubrey Huff the DH. You got Carlos Guillen in left field. Your bottom three features Inge, Laird, and Adam Everett. Well, the Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on Matt Garza. Get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
Garza's got electric stuff. He's got a mid-90s fastball. He's got slider. He's got curve. He's got change. You name it, he's got it. The opponents in the American League hitting just .232 against him, which is good for second in the American League. His problem has to keep his emotions in check. Every now and then he'll get out of whack and give up a few runs, and he has not beaten the Tigers. He is 0-3 in 5 career starts, with an earned run average approaching 5.
So Garza, with his last minute preparations, getting set to take on Curtis Granderson, Placido Polanco, and then Maglio Ordonez. Curtis looks at a strike to start the bottom of the first inning. Granderson was 3 for 12 in the series against the Angels in Anaheim. Tigers winning 2 out of 3 in that series. Here's the 0-1. The hook drops in nicely, and the count is 0-2. Granderson, 25 home runs. That is a career high.
Watch Garza's glove here once he reaches in. He kind of shakes it, and just to make sure that he's not tipping his pitches. He started doing that last year. And every now and then when you reach into your glove, when you have a small glove, as he does, opposing hitters can kind of pick up what you're doing. Therefore, he just wiggles his to make sure that no one's picking up the changeup or the breaking ball when he does reach in there to get that particular pitch. You don't see many guys doing it this way.
A lot of guys will tip by that finger that sticks out, that index finger that sticks out of the glove, and so many of them have that little wrap. That misses inside and high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I don't think I've ever seen any other pitcher do that. Can you remember any?
No, I don't really remember anybody shaking the glove the way that he does, but he's got a really small glove, though.
It's a bouncing ball hit to second base. Willie Ibar has it, and 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the Honda Bloomfield defense behind the very talented Garza in this ball game. You got the speed in left. You got tremendous speed and balance in the outfield with Upton. You got Gross in right. You got Longoria, Bartlett, Ibar at second. Pena won a Gold Glove last year at first. Greg Zahn over with from the Baltimore Orioles behind the plate, and Matt Garza, as we mentioned, on the rubber.
Here's Placido Polanco, and he looks at a strike right at the knees.
We just saw Zahn a couple of weeks ago when the Baltimore Orioles were in town.
Have catcher's gear will travel. He's been with a bunch of teams. Here's the 0-1. Ooh, looked like that one hit the outside corner, but just missed.
There's Zahn. Remember he had that fancy gear on? That black and purple, black and orange gear he had on?
Yeah, with the stuff all over the helmet.
A little bit more toned down in these Rays colors.
Here's another chance for Ibar, and a couple of ground ball outs. 2 gone.
Garza comes in under 500 at 7-8 with all the electric stuff that he has, making his 26th start. But you see the earned run average is good. The rest of the numbers are pretty good as well. 5th in strikeouts with 144, and that opponent's batting average is second only to the Tigers' Jared Washburn.
Here's Maglio. Ordonez again batting in the 3 spot. As the month of August winds down, you look at Ordonez's numbers, 361 this month. 3 hits in the series against the Angels. Also walked a couple of times. And another fastball that just missed.
That is a good, firm fastball at the knees. Just a hair off the plate.
Another one that missed a little bit too far outside. 2-1. Garza is just 25 years old and will be a mainstay, you would anticipate, in the Rays rotation for years. Came over in that deal with Minnesota. A deal that has turned out to be, at this point at least, somewhat one-sided. Jason Bartlett came over as well in that deal that sent Delman Young the other way.
Garza and Bartlett have really performed. Therefore, Delman Young has not lived up to the expectations that he had before going to the Twin Cities. But he is still very young.
And in his hands that time, and it was fouled back by Maglio. 2-2. Well, the Tigers had that red hot weather in Anaheim. In fact, it was 97 a couple of days ago at game time. Here tonight, it's in the 60s. Again, the 2-2 pitch.
From a player standpoint, it's a nice change of pace. And that heat out in Los Angeles, if you have to play in that weather, although it's good baseball weather, and that takes a lot out of you. You can kind of recharge your batteries on a night like tonight where, as you mentioned, just 62 with some cloud coverage. You might even get a little wet, a little drizzling going on too.
Well, at least the humidity was down. Otherwise, it could have been really nasty. But 62 right now here at the ballpark. 3-2 on Ordonez. Tigers looking for their first base runner of the night. And the 3-2 pitch. And that is foul down the right field line. Ordonez almost sliced in a double. Talking about Maglio heating up in the month of August and facing Garza. The numbers we gave you earlier, 7 for 14. So for some reason he's had Garza's number. And he's battling him here. Inside, he takes the walk. 2 out, base on balls. The first runner of the night for Detroit.
Well, Cabrera had a tremendous road trip, and it started in Oakland with his 200th career home run, and that was the opposite way. And then he continued his onslaught on the Los Angeles Angels Anaheim pitching staff. He's got power, he's got balance, he's got hand quickness. He's dangerous. And he loves to drive in runs in the very first inning. He's done that a bunch this year.
And he's been scary good since the All-Star break. Fouls it straight back 0-1. Cabrera was, as we just showed you, really good in that series against the Angels. 7 for 14. He has an 11-game hitting streak.
That's what Tony Gwynn would call locked in.
And it's scary when this guy gets locked in.
He can carry a club for a couple of weeks.
Garza came inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Garza not afraid to do that. He has hit a few batters this year because he likes to aggressively pitch inside. And he doesn't just pitch off the plate inside. He will go in there for a strike with the power fastball in the mid-90s.
Two and 1. Cabrera leads the American League in total bases, 273. And there was a time earlier this year coming at least up, bumping up to the All-Star break, where I think Cabrera felt that he needed to do a little bit more, and Jim Leyland felt he needed to do a little bit more to help a club that really has not been consistent at all this year. Well, since the All-Star break, he has turned down the burners. He fouls another one back, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I mean, his numbers since the break as good as any in baseball. And you talk about carrying a team, here are some of those numbers.
That's why they brought him here. And they knew he was going to be this good. And he's going to be in a Tigers uniform for a long, long time. But when it's all said and done, Cabrera will have some numbers that rank with some of the best that have ever played the game offensively.
And again, fouled straight back, so they're making Garza work. Ordonez worked him for the walk. And now Garza having trouble putting Cabrera away. Aubrey Huff is waiting in the on-deck circle, left-handed batter. Garza is about to throw his 23rd pitch in this first inning. And he got him, strike 3. Cabrera caught looking to retire the side. First strikeout for Garza. bit of a delay to the start of tonight's game. Not long though. It was just a 16-minute delay. Rick Porcello goes back to the hill as we bring you to the second inning. Willie Ibar will lead things off. Ibar and then Zahn and then Gabe Gross, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in Joe Madden's lineup. And another bouncing ball to second base. Polanco throws him out. So Porcello continues to get the patented ground balls. That'll bring up Greg Zahn. Talking about Zahn being well traveled. This is his 15th major league season. Wow. Been on a long time now. I mean, year after year, he has started some seasons. He has backed up in some seasons, but he always seems to have a job.
Did a nice job handling the youngster Matt Wieters as well in Baltimore when Wieters got called up. Zahn was his mentor until being traded to the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, he's 0 for 9 this year against Tigers pitching. 258 overall this season. And the Rays have become his 8th big league team. Here's a strike call. 0-2. Zahn has that old school look, the stirrups. No batting gloves.
I don't think I've seen a player wear these all year long. First time.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Porcello blows him away.
He's got his good stuff today, does the kid. But usually he has his good stuff. A real firm fastball at the top of the strike zone. That's something else that he is starting to do. He gets ground balls when he needs a ground ball, but also he knows how to climb the ladder with that fastball that's firm at 92 to 95 when he likes to get a strikeout.
Here's Gabe Gross. Gross at 252. Veteran outfielder playing in right field. Is just 2 for his last 13. And not very good career numbers against the Tigers. 2 for 17 overall. Porcello's 1-0. Sinking in for a strike. 1-1. Gross has really been battling it. In fact, over his last 40 games, he's hitting just barely over 200 in that stretch. The 1-1. We'll get back into the seats in a hurry. There was some thought, of course, the offseason trade that brought Edwin Jackson here sent Matt Joyce to the Tampa Bay Rays, and there was some thought that Joyce might be that right fielder and still may be in the future. What a trade that has turned out to be for the Detroit Tigers with Jackson coming over. Porcello makes him move his feet. 2-2.
Tampa will not see Edwin Jackson in the 4-game series. He pitched the afternoon game in Los Angeles a couple of days ago. But Joe Madden did take him to the All-Star game this year in St. Louis. Well-respected manager is Madden.
He spent a lot of years in the minor leagues, really in every different capacity before he finally got his first big league job on a full-time basis with the Rays, and lo and behold, he brings him to the World Series last year.
He's got a nice calm about it.
3-2 pitch. Driven to right field. Straight at Maglio, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Porcello. 1.5 in the books. No score. Coach once coached Matt Garza when they were both in the Minnesota Twins organization, and Rick Knapp talks about his time with Matt Garza.
In fact, I can remember in an instructional league early that I'd just been up in the major leagues a little bit at the end of the season with the Twins, and when I went down to instructional league, I had a video of Verlander, and my goal was to try to make Matt Garza Verlander.
Wow, how about that?
Well, they both have had a lot of success at a very young age. Of course, Verlander, Rookie of the Year. Verlander pitched in the World Series. Garza also pitched in the World Series last year, and Garza was the MVP in the ALCS last year, pitching his team into the World Series.
Aubrey Huff pops it straight up, and Greg Zahn hauls it in, one gone. Well, there's no question they are both very, very talented. Justin Verlander, of course, has been in the Cy Young conversation this year.
Very much so.
Well, he was cruising along in that last start against the Angels, and all of a sudden it just took one inning where he lost his focus a little bit.
He said he learned something in that one inning where he did give up some runs when he took the hill there in the bottom of the sixth with a 10-0 lead. He says even if you're up by 10 runs, you still have to have the mentality that it's a 1-0 game.
Here's Carlos Guillen.
And if he takes that mentality into most of his games that he pitches the remainder of the way, he will not have those types of mental lapses, that he had that evening.
Well, you would expect not, that's for sure. Because when the game's on the line, he has been so dominant. Think back to that Boston game earlier this year, which would have been a huge, huge loss for the Tigers. That was the last game of the series, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Tigers would have been swept, but Verlander had a big win.
He was just cruising in that game though against the Angels. He was a lot more deliberate. He was slower in his delivery. And that was the first time that we had seen Verlander like that. I like it, though.
Back out of play, 1-2 on Carlos Guillen. 3 for 7 in the series against the Halos. Carlos playing out in left field. For the last 2 or 3 years here, Carlos has been all over the place. Shortstop, third base, first base, outfield. Given time now by Jerry Davis.
And all he has done is made 3 All-Star teams and has not complained about it one bit. He's a true pro.
Got him, strike 3. Good pitch there by Garza, threading the needle, and that is his second strikeout.
The majority of the pitches that Garza throws will be fastballs, and they are firm. And he's got some confidence about him, too, which is a big part of it.
So here's Brandon Inge. Batting with 2 outs. Brandon 3 for 13 against the Angels. .238 overall now with the batting average. Fouls one back out of play, 0-1. Inge just 171 since the All-Star break. Breaking ball, 0-2. And it just missed up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Brandon Inge. We were talking about this a couple of days ago, and this was on Tigers Live before the game. Brandon, of course, had the names of his 2 sons, Tyler and Chase, tattooed onto his forearm. That was done in Oakland, I believe, on the last road trip.
For your first tattoos, he could have went a little bigger, couldn't he?
He just kind of went all out, didn't he? Those are usually probably around the 3rd or 4th round, aren't they? The first round, man.
Yeah, he went all out.
But he likes them, and that's all that matters. The 1-2 pitch is driven in the air, deep into left field, way back. This ball is gone. It's a home run. Brandon Inge with a 2-out solo shot here in the second. And there's another story behind that home run. As it always seems to be with Brandon Inge. He was visiting a patient earlier this day by the name of Noah. And young Noah asked him to hit a home run tonight. And he's got Noah's name right on his arm right there, the right forearm. How about that? Noah, that one is for you. And Brandon came through for you.
Pretty impressive. Garza hung a breaking ball right over the heart of the plate. And with the new tattoos on the forearms of Brandon Inge, he clubs one right out of here.
Ooh, hit by the pitch in the ribs is Gerald Laird. Not too fond of that. That's gonna sting for a while.
Well, we told you about Garza and our pitching profile. He will tend to allow his emotions to get the best of him on occasion. And Laird, judging by the way that he looked at Garza, he thought there was some intent there.
Well, especially after the guy before you just hit one out.
Well, Gerald didn't hit it.
I agree. That's not the way it goes in baseball, though. So Porcello gets his first run of the game in support. Inge number 25. And there's the ball outside to Adam Everett. Everett batting .239. 2 for 4 in that last game against the Angels. Didn't play in the first 2 games. In fact, he homered against the Halos in one of those games. The third game. Garza, by the way, now has hit 9 batters, which is tied for second in the American League. Laird is his latest victim. There's a high fly ball, shallow left center. B.J. Upton coming over, and that is that. Well, Noah, this one is for you. Brandon Inge goes deep. His 25th of the year, and the Tigers lead 1-0. .69. Jim Northrup goes 6 for 6 as the Tigers beat the A's 5-3. His final hit is a 13th inning game winner, and Mr. Northrup 6 for 6, first 6-hit game for Detroit. At that time since June of '62, it had been a while since that was done. And the game winner in the bottom of the 13th. Porcello now takes the lead to the mound. 1-0 is our score. It'll be B.J. Upton to lead it off with a .238 batting average. He bounces one foul. Upton, then Bartlett, and then Crawford. B.J. was moved out of the leadoff slot in early August 4th to be exact. He had hit leadoff 96 games this year, but the average at .238, Joe Madden has gone in a different direction.
BJ wasn't happy about it either, and he said as much. But when you're hitting 238, you really don't have legitimate beef other than go out and get a few knocks so you can get yourself back up in that leadoff spot.
Bouncing ball hit slowly toward third, cut off by Inge, and it gets through the legs of Cabrera. Upton will go to second base and will get another error. So maybe the second of the game now on Inge.
Looked like Inge kind of rushed his throw here, didn't really set his feet, and knowing that Upton was running, he threw from down under, and the ball simply bounced and went right through the legs of Miguel Cabrera.
So Porcello has had some tough luck in this game. That's a routine ground ball for the second time, and for the second time it results in an error. Tying run goes to second base on that play, and Jason Bartlett will try and drive him home, or at least over. Bartlett is 0 for 1 with a ground ball. Ground ball slowly toward Inge. This one is foul.
Bartlett comes in with a .418 batting average with runners in scoring position, which is the best in the American League.
Well, he's had an outstanding year. 58 RBIs. The month of August has been very good to him. 374 this month. But when you're hitting over 400 with men in scoring position,
almost September.
Yeah, this late in the year, that's something else. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's at the top of a lot of lists among shortstops in the American League.
That kind of gives you an idea of the kind of year that Bartlett is having, because Derek Jeter is having a tremendous year in New York. And I'm sure Jeter probably shows up second or third on most of those categories we just showed you, but you wouldn't think that Bartlett's numbers would be that good, but yes, they are.
Inside and high. 3 balls, 1 strike. Well, speaking of Derek Jeter, apparently he has had a homer tonight, and the Yankees now lead the Chicago White Sox 2-0 in the 4th.
White Sox have a very difficult schedule, and they have had for the better part of this week. They were in Boston for 4 games. That's tough, going from Boston to New York.
Bartlett gets a walk. 2 men on. Well, not only is it tough, but this next week could be very critical for both the Tigers and the White Sox, considering the Tigers are at home and the White Sox going through that real bad stretch of theirs in terms of their schedule heading into September.
Yeah.
So, Tigers have a nice opportunity here to pick up some ground.
If Joe Madden wants to try to even the score here at 1, he may give the bunt sign to Crawford, but he won't necessarily be sacrificing. And Crawford will be trying to bunt for a base hit. He's very good at that.
Lays one down. Laird better hurry. And they just got him. Crawford pointing back to the bag as if to say he was off the bag or something. Perhaps he was late, perhaps off the bag, but they called him out.
Certain guys, if you're the manager, and Joe Madden in this case, you know that Crawford has the ability to run, so you just don't give an out away. You try to see if you can get a guy to bunt for a base hit here. What was he saying? Cabrera had his foot on the bag or something?
I think he said it was off the bag. Miguel looked like he crouched and the heel came off the bag, but he was called out by first base umpire C.B. Buckner. Here's Evan Longoria with a chance to drive in a couple with a base hit. And a line drive caught third by Brandon. 2 gone.
Well, you know you're going to be busy in the infield, especially with Porcello on the mound. Lots of ground balls, and a lot of the right-handed hitters, they pull that sinker on the ground as well.
So a chance to pitch out of it now for Porcello, but he's got to get through Carlos Pena here.
Well, he doesn't have to give in to Pena, that's for sure. Pena's got 91 RBIs, and he's got 37 home runs. You got 2 outs and you've got a base open. So make sure he hits your pitch.
Ball one.
And they've got a shift on him. You see where Everett is playing almost directly behind Bartlett at second. Polanco over in the hole. And Pena hits a lot of balls to the pull field on the ground. The outfielders play him straight up.
Pat Burrell is on deck, but with first base open and a count of 2-0. Porcello being very careful here with Pena and his 91 RBIs. He had 3 home runs in that Toronto series just completed. Here's the 2-0 pitch. In the air to center field, it hit well, but Granderson will get back there to retire the side. So the Rays threaten, do not score. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 1-0 Detroit.
Come. Mario, Rod, back to you.
All right, Keats, thanks very much. As we go to the bottom of the third, Tigers on top by a 1-0 score. Each team with a hit. The Tigers hit, of course, left the ballpark. The home run by Brandon Inge. Fans settling into their seats now after a bit of a delay to start this one. 16 minutes. It was raining pretty good here before the game, but the field was covered and is in great shape. Matt Garza back to the hill facing the top of the Tigers lineup. It'll be Curtis Granderson leading it off, and then Polanco and Ordonez. Curtis takes strike one. Granderson bounced out 4-3 back in the first.
And Garza knows that Granderson's a really good fastball hitter with a lot of power, 25 home runs. And therefore, he has thrown him a few of those little slow breaking balls, little lollipop breaking balls.
Garza came up pretty big for them in the postseason, especially the ALCS. In fact, he won the MVP of the ALCS, winning games 3 and game 7 against the Boston Red Sox. The youngest pitcher ever to win the ALCS MVP, and he strikes out Granderson. One gone.
The second baseman,
Hey, Tigers fans, place a deposit on 2010 season tickets and receive postseason priority for 2009. For more information, call 313-471-BALL or visit tigers.com. That's a pretty good deal. Deposit on 2010 and get some priority for 09.
There's a pop-up off the bat of Polanco. Shallow right field. Ibar says, I'll take it. 2 quick outs here in the Tigers' third. He's going to bring up Maglio Ordonez. Well, the closer we get to September, the more you really start to think about postseason and what the possibilities might be for the Tigers. I know out in Anaheim they were talking about possible playoff matchups in the first round. Way too early for that, obviously. But right now, if the season were to end, obviously the Tigers would be in the playoffs. And a couple of other teams Tampa is playing in this current stretch they have, the Yankees and Red Sox, battling for playoff spots. So they're in a tough stretch of their own. The chopper hit to first. Pena will take it himself, and the Tigers go quickly and quietly on our way to the fourth. 1-0 Detroit.
The really nice slider, and then he throws him a ton of fastballs, one more slider mixed in before finally finishing off with a really, really nasty slider. And that's with runners in scoring position. So this kid, as we have said, when it gets tough, he just kind of takes a little bit off, and that's what most young kids don't do. They try to throw harder when they've got themselves in a jam.
Wise beyond his years, and has been an absolute joy for Rick Knapp to work with.
Not only Rick Knapp, but Jeff Jones. And both Jeff and Rick have taken this young man under his wing and pretty much have taught him every step of the way.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Jeff Jones, because he's kind of hidden down there in the bullpen, but he's worked with these pitchers extensively. And of course, Jeff has had a lot of time in the Tigers minor league organization, bullpen coach now here.
And it's Jeff that knows most of these American League hitters, because he's been in the big leagues for a few years. This is Rick Knapp's first tour of duty in the big leagues. And Jeff Jones has been invaluable to the progress and the maturation process of Porcello.
Tigers pitchers in great hands this year with Knapp and Jones. 2-2 on Pat Burrell as he starts off the fourth inning. Burrell, Ibar, and Zahn. Tigers on top 1-0. Burrell is 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the first inning. Missed 29 games in the month of May. He had a neck strain. He'll go down swinging here. And Porcello now has his fourth strikeout. Well, it's the fourth inning. You know what that means.
Duck got a little jet lag.
Well, he had the day off yesterday, so he should be okay. Who was the only Tigers this decade to lead the team in home runs, average, RBIs, runs, hits, and doubles in a season?
Somebody actually did all that?
Recently, in this decade. Can you name him? Here's Willie Ibar. Ibar is 0 for 1 with a ground out. Playing second base these days, Akinori Iwamura is on the disabled list with a knee problem. They're expecting Iwamura to return hopefully sometime in September. They thought he might be done for the year. Ibar floats one right in front of the plate, and Laird will throw him out, 2 gone. Couple of quick outs for Porcello.
They had good communication this time. Earlier in the ball game, there was a similar type swinging bunt with Crawford running, but you see Laird put the hand up that time to tell Porcello, I got it. And while he was doing so, also positioning his feet to make the throw to first base. It's all about communication.
Now Greg Zahn. Zahn, a strikeout victim in the second. Since joining the Rays, hitting .317, he's been a nice addition. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sometimes that's all you need is a new scenery. He wasn't going to get a whole lot of playing time there in Baltimore with the youngster, the phenom, Matt Wieters on the scene. But it's kind of good, though. He finds himself in a pennant race down the stretch, playing some meaningful games.
And I suppose his situation in Baltimore, he knew was one that was eventually going to happen. He was one of the senior catchers there, and when you have a prospect like Wieters in your system, it's only a matter of time. Nice block there by Laird, 2-2. But for him to take the opportunity to help Wieters along when he was finally called up, because we were there and there was a lot of hoopla surrounding that kid.
You think?
I mean, more than maybe anybody I've ever seen.
I would agree with you on that.
Little chopper hit towards second base. Polanco gobbles it up.
See you, Polly. Picking it.
1, 2, 3, they go. We're headed to the bottom of the fourth. It's 1-0 Detroit. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Trust us, we'll make you happy you came in. That's a promise. And by AT&T, your world delivered. Cyrus Raymond Cobb with the spikes of flying here at the ballpark. It's turned into a pretty nice night here. Temperature holding steady at 62 degrees. And the rain has stayed away for the most part. The Tigers on top 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Matt Garza back on top of the hill. He retired the Tigers 1-2-3 in the third. And Miguel Cabrera leads it off. Garza struck him out back in the first inning. And he starts him off with a fastball away, 1-0. Cabrera now at .342. Fouled straight back.
Looks like Cabrera moved off the plate just a little bit. And then Garza froze him on a fastball for strike 3 his first time up. Looked like Cabrera was a lot closer to the plate. But this time he's off the plate a little bit, giving himself more room to catch up to that fastball inside.
It'll go foul back out of play. Well, we've talked about what Cabrera has been able to do with his second half surge, and he is in the top 10 in average and runs batted in. Cabrera with 27 homers, also in the top 10 in that category as well. And there was talk when the Tigers got Cabrera that he could be a candidate someday for a triple crown. Little chopper hit to second. Easy play there for Ibar, who has been really busy tonight. One gone. Will bring us to our Aflac trivia question again here tonight. The Duck would like to know, who was the only Tiger this decade to lead the team in homers, average, RBIs, runs, hits, and doubles in a season? The answer is, that would be Dimitri Young back in 2003. Miguel Cabrera threatening to do it this year. Here are the other guys as well that have done it. Crawford, Cobb, Heilman, and Gehring. There's Aubrey Huff. A few of those guys out of the wall out there in right field and in left field. The 1-0 pitch. Well, the Tigers got to find a way to get Aubrey Huff going here. He's 0 for 1. Was 0 for 9 in the series against the Angels, and the hope is that he will catch fire soon.
I have not talked to Aubrey about it, but it has to be somewhat difficult for him. I mean, he left a situation where he was playing every day over in Baltimore and getting 4 at-bats daily. And it's tough when you come to a new team and then you're only batting against right-handers. So he's not getting the consistent reps that he was getting in Baltimore. It's no excuse for not having success, but it takes time to adjust to that.
He'll take on 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1.
Baseball is a tough enough game when you're playing every single day.
Well, the hope is that he would give Cabrera a little bit of protection, and has been hitting behind him with right-handed pitchers out there, but has been sitting for the most part against lefties. Do you think there is a point that if he does get it going, he'll play against both righties and lefties?
Well, I don't think so, because Jim's got a really nice lineup, and he's got some diversity on his roster right now where he can run Guillen up there against right-handers along with Huff, and then when there's a left-handed pitcher, he's got Rayburn. Yeah. He also has Cleet Thomas, who's not necessarily in the mix right now, defensive replacement, real late in games. They just have a really nice, balanced roster, and guys are just going to have to get accustomed to their new roles.
Well, you bring up Rayburn, and he's had a terrific month of August, so he's really kind of come on in the second half.
Well, Jim has a tremendous amount of confidence in Rayburn, and when your manager continues to show that kind of confidence in you and continues to run you out there, even when you do fail, you tend to start to play better.
Here's Carlos Guillen, the 1-out walk to Aubrey Huff, second walk of the game given up by Garza. Guillen struck out back in the second. And he fouls that one back out of play, 0-1.
Aubrey Huff does not run, but even when the Tigers do get a good base runner over there that has the ability to steal, there's only been 4 attempted steals this year while Garza's been on the mound. 4. He's got 20-plus starts this year. So apparently he does a very nice job in shutting down the running game. But that doesn't mean you can't hit and run. Put a guy in motion. See if you can get some of the infielders moving around a little bit.
Those numbers you just quoted, that's kind of odd for a right-handed power pitcher, isn't it?
They are odd. 4.
It's not a lot. 0-1. Well, for Guillen, he first came back into the lineup as the designated hitter. He's been able to play left field for a couple of weeks now. Still not quite there in terms of batting right-handed. The 1-1 pitch is outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Gene Lamont running through the signs, third base coach.
Gene and Jim have been together for so long that and Gene pretty much knows what Jim wants to do in most situations.
Now 3-1. Pena, the first baseman, had been playing behind Aubrey Huff, especially with the left-handed batter up there. Huff not a threat to go. So Pena cutting down some of that angle defensively.
Great defensive first baseman. Won a Gold Glove last year. And he will win some more Gold Gloves.
He lost him, ball 4, so back-to-back walks here for the Tigers. Third walk of the game for Garza, and that's going to bring up Brandon in.
And last time Brandon was up, he got himself a hanging breaking ball from Garza, and he crushed it.
Cleared the bullpens. Confab on the mound. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, is out to have a chat. And Brandon's home run was his 25th of the year back in the second inning. And at least to this point, still the only Tigers hit. Both sides have just one hit. Inge is also driven in 68 now, has an opportunity to pad this Tigers lead. Garza has really slowed things down after the 2 walks. Inge hits a ground ball, base hit into left field. Here comes Huff rounding third. They're going to stop him there. Crawford gets the ball back in, and with the lead runner being Aubrey Huff, Gene Lamont was not going to take any chances with 1 out.
I thought Gino was going to send him there. And Gene Lamont is one of the most aggressive third base coaches in the league. And once Brandon drives this ball into the outfield, you know it's a little wet in the outfield because it had been raining here the majority of the day. And Crawford does not have a strong throwing arm, but you bring up a great point. Why run yourself into a close play? He had both arms up before Huff even hit third base bad.
Well, the bases are loaded now for Gerald Laird. I think I'm kind of with you on that one, though, because the runner was rounding third before Crawford even got to the ball. That's driven to the air. Shallow right center field. Upton coming on, and a diving try by Gross won't get it. It'll split the outfielders. Huff will score. Here comes Guillen. He will score.
Why did not BJ catch that ball? Looked like he was set to catch it and got called off late by Gross.
Laird gets a 2-run double, and the Tigers lead 3-0.
I thought for sure BJ Upton was going to catch this ball, and at the last moment, he just stops. I mean, he can cover some ground. He's calling, and all of a sudden you see Gross out of nowhere diving for it. And as a result of that, 2 runs come around to score.
2 big runs. Huff and Guillen come rumbling home, and now the Tigers lead 3-0 in the infield coming in for the Rays with runners at second and third. Here is Adam Everett.
You know Laird is not happy anyway, because the first time he came up today after Brandon Inge solo home run, he got smoked right in the ribs by Garza. So that was a little payback there for G-Money.
And for Gerald, his 26th and 27th RBIs. So the Tigers really have a chance to bust this one open now, especially with only 1 out and the infield in. Rick Porcello now has 3 runs to work with, and maybe more. Way high. Boy, Zahn had to leave his crouch to get that one.
%50 of the time, Everett gets the job done with a runner on third, less than 2 outs.
Holds fair inside the bag at third base. This will get 2 more runs in. Inge will score. Laird coming around. Everett goes to second, and the Tigers now have a 5-0 lead.
When you play your infield in, this is what you run into every now and then. And because they are drawn in so far, they do not have the same type of reaction time. And a ball can get down the line past a very talented third baseman, Longoria. If he's a little deeper, he may be able to knock that ball down.
Adam Everett out of the 9 slot comes up with 2 huge RBIs, 5-0 Detroit.
Garza continues to struggle against the Tigers. He came in 5 starts, 0-3, and with an earned run average of 4.94.
Well, here's Curtis Granderson. He's 0 for 2. All of the Tigers' RBIs tonight belong to 7, 8, and 9. Inge, Laird, and Everett. Randy with a wave and a miss. 1-1. Curtis a strikeout and a ground out. Down the right field line, hit well. That ball will land fair up against the wall. This will get a run in. Granderson on his way to second. He pulls in with a double, and the Tigers starting to pour it on now. It's 6-0. They are beating up on Garza.
Well, I told you the last time that Curtis was up. Apparently Garza does not think he can hit this breaking ball because he's thrown about 4 of these slow breaking balls. Granderson with great concentration on this one, keeps his head down, and left-handers love the ball down and in. That's kind of their happy zone.
'58th RBI for Granderson. Polanco now will try and cash him in. Still only 1 out of the inning. This is a 5-run 4th. Bouncing ball back towards second. Ibar throws him out. Runner advances. With 2 gone, Granderson standing at third, and that's going to bring up the 9th man to bat in the inning. Maglio Ordonez. Lance Cormier is beginning to heat it up in the Rays bullpen. Garza getting knocked around the lot here in the 4th. Jim Hickey has already made 1 visit to the mound. Maglio takes a rip, 0-1. Ordonez 0 for 1 with a walk. One ball, 1 strike. Garza had an easy 1-2-3 third inning. Strikeout, pop up, ground out, and all of a sudden the roof kind of caved in here in the 4th on it. 2-run double by Laird, 2-run double by Everett, RBI double by Granderson. Two and 2. Granderson, the runner at third with 2 outs. And Ordonez trying to get him in. Here's the 2-2. In the air to center field. Upton cruising in under it. And that is that for the Tigers. 9 men at the plate, but the bottom of the lineup did some big time damage. Inge had a base hit. Laird doubled in a couple. And Everett doubled in 2 more. start to perk up a little bit now.
And you brought it up, 7, 8, 9. These guys have driven in quite a few of the runs the Tigers have, but Porcello, he just continues to amaze me. He got himself a little bit of a jam there in the first and was able to pitch out of it. So, and they score runs for him.
They do, and he's got a lot of ground balls, which has kind of been his MO. And Porcello has looked outstanding again in this ball game here tonight. And hopefully the Tigers can bring this one home now as Porcello gives up a leadoff single to start things off here in the 5th inning.
Very important, though, and for Porcello to get his team back in the dugout without giving up any runs here, while they've got the momentum clearly on their side.
E.J. Upton is the batter. Gabe Gross leading it off with a base hit. Just the 2nd hit given up by Porcello in this game. Upton reaching on an error by Brandon Inge back in the 3rd. Showing bunt. Looked like he offered, but they say he didn't.
They have several guys that will bunt for a base hit. The Tampa Bay Rays play the game the way the game is meant to be played. They'll move a guy over, and usually are very successful getting them in from 3rd with less than 2 outs under their skipper, the newly dyed-haired skipper, Joe Madden.
He's got the Johnny Cash Elvis look going on these days.
Yeah, he dyed his hair black. I also read where he told his team to all wear black on the flight over here. Did you read that?
I did. He is a master motivator. There is no doubt about that. And he has talked about how he thought his team might have been a little bit uptight, just trying to loosen them up. So the normally silver-haired Joe Madden showed up at the ballpark one day with black hair.
Well, wasn't it last year they had the Mohawks down the stretch?
Yeah, they did. That's true.
And I think they did that right before they came here. So yeah. I don't know what it is about Comerica Park and coming to Detroit, but they get very creative before they come here.
3-1 on B.J. Upton.
Boss Man Jr. That's what the B stands for. You know who the boss man is. That's Senior. That's Dad.
There's no question about that.
And B.J. Upton. Pretty cool nickname, Boss Man.
Boss Man? Yeah. Very authoritative.
But Junior.
There's a bigger boss man lurking. The 3-1 is high, ball 4, and now the Rays have the first 2 men on.
Hey fans, be at Comerica Park this Sunday when the Tigers host the Rays at 105. All kids 14 and under receive a Brandon Inge jersey backpack courtesy of DMC. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or log on to tigers.com. It was a lengthy sit down there for Porcello in the bottom half of the 4th. And he just needs to make sure he continues to pitch like it's a 1-0 game and not a 6-0 game.
Well, they have to deal with the top of the lineup now. Jason Bartlett, who is 0 for 1. He has a base on balls as well. Tigers tonight have out-hit the Rays 5-2. They lead 6-0. And Porcello could use one of those ground balls here. There's a strike called, 0-1. How many double plays is he up to now?
20.
Gross at second base. Upton at first base.
Make that 21.
21 double play balls.
Which is second in the American League. I would imagine that Burley is still first. That would be Mark Burley of the Chicago White Sox, but you wouldn't expect a youngster.
No.
20 years old, when he gets himself in these types of situations, to always have the uncanny ability to get that ground ball.
One ball, one strike. Bartlett lines one to right field. Maglio is on the run, and the lights. He hauls it in.
It's a dangerous play, and that's a scary play. Look at Maglio. Scary play. But he hung with it. Stayed down low enough and waited until the ball came out of the lights and made a nice play. This is just scary if you're an outfielder.
And he got rid of it quickly, too, knowing that Upton, or Gross rather, was tagging at second, but he held. You are correct on Burley. 24 double play balls for Mark Burley. And then Porcello. Here's Crawford. Infield single and a sacrifice, and he looks at a strike.
Crawford was the MVP in the All-Star game this year, making that really nice catch to take a home run away from, I don't remember who the batter was, but he took a home run away from somebody.
Brad Hawk.
Brad Hawk of the sizzling hot Colorado Rockies.
Yeah. Although the Dodgers beat him back a little bit.
Ask and you shall receive. Curtis Granderson was playing center field at the time.
And he took that award away, maybe from Granderson, who had the triple and scored a run.
Yeah.
Big swing there by Crawford. 1-2. But the American League wins again, which means they will get home field advantage in the World Series again. It's becoming habit forming. Although that rule has been around just a couple of years now. Just got a piece of that one to stay alive. That's something right there they said that Crawford has gotten better at, with 2 strikes in the count, just spoiling that pitch that is darting to the outside part of the strike zone and staying alive.
He has turned himself into a really good big league baseball player. He's always had tremendous talent, athleticism. But that doesn't always translate into a good player, good baseball player. But he has turned himself into a really good player with tremendous work ethic.
Well, we've told you the story before about how Crawford was recruited by Nebraska to be their quarterback and run the option there, and how he got to professional baseball as a very raw specimen, but has turned himself into quite a player. That's lifted in the air toward shallow left field. Carlos Guillen coming on, and the runners will have to hold. 2 gone. So a couple of balls in the air against Porcello, but it's gotten the job done. 2 away.
You get to the point, if you're the Tampa Bay Rays, under their hitting instructor Steve Henderson, well, he will tell them, especially when runners are on, you know this guy gets lots of ground balls, so you have to make him get the ball up in the strike zone. And they have done that, and that's why they've flown out the last couple of hitters. There's Hindu sitting down in the middle there between the manager.
Ball up high, 1-0.
My first stint in the big leagues back in '83 with the Seattle Mariners, Hindu kind of took me under his wing. He was a nice mentor in the limited time that I spent in the major leagues with Seattle. Really good man.
What were some of the things he taught you?
Well, I mean, like all veteran players, they kind of teach you the do's and the don'ts, and make sure you get up in the morning, eat some breakfast, don't stay out too late, where to go, not to go, and how to conduct yourself as a big league player. Someone taught them, and they always teach you.
Did you follow his advice on not staying out late?
Absolutely. Maybe got a little loose on Friday and Saturday.
That's what I figured. But at least you're honest.
You know, sometimes on Friday, streets just come a-calling.
The 1-2 pitch to Longoria is outside, 2-2. And depending on the city, boy, those streets can really come a-calling.
That's true.
Porcello trying to strand the 2 runners. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. He struck him out, and he gets 3 after giving up the single and the walk. The factory. Back here at Comerica Park, it's been all Tigers so far in this one tonight. The Tigers on top by a 6-0 score. Wow, we're hero figures now. Wow, check that out, Rod.
I did see that.
Nice. Bottom of the 5th inning, and Cabrera will start things off for Detroit. Garza's still out there. The Tigers sent 9 men to the plate in that big 4th inning in which they scored 5 times. Miguel is 0 for 2 with a ground ball and a strikeout. The 0-1.
That looked like a changeup right there and a dangerous pitch. He got away with one there. And I think Garza knows it. And when you throw that changeup to a right-handed batter, especially a dangerous hitter like Cabrera, you run the risk of him hitting a bullet somewhere.
Ground ball left side, cut off at third base by Longoria. So Cabrera now is 0 for 3, 1 away. Bring up Aubrey Huff, who has a walk and a run scored tonight. Aubrey, a former Tampa Bay Ray. Had some really good years in Tampa. And he takes a strike right down the middle, 0-1.
When Tampa traded him to the Houston Astros, they got Ben Zobrist in return from Houston, and Zobrist was an all-star this year and has turned into a super utility player for Tampa. Super player.
There's a drive. Deep right field. Will it stay fair? It will not. It's a foul ball. Ooh, that would have been really nice for Huff, who has scuffled in the Tigers uniform. Almost hit his first. C.B. Buckner, the first base umpire, was right on that thing. It was close. Zobrist just kind of come out of nowhere and really had himself a nice year. Huff hit a ton of home runs in the Rays uniform, Devil Rays at that time. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. He chased the cheese and he's out of there. 2 gone. 4th strikeout for Garza. Tomorrow get an early face-off for the Red Wings season by attending Hockey Fest, taking place from 1 to 10 p.m. at the Joe Louis Arena. Enjoy player appearances, interactive games, plus be the first in line for your 2009-2010 single game tickets, starting as low as $9 for select dates. For more information, visit DetroitTigers.com, and that looks like a blast. I think I said Tigers.com. I'm sorry, RedWings.com. I'm so used to saying one thing. DetroitRedWings.com, but that looked like a blast earlier today.
The hockey season is upon us already.
It is just about here. Won't be long before they're headed to Traverse City. And then on to Sweden this year to start the season. Here's Carlos Guillen.
You think we can get on that trip sometime?
I was wondering that my own self. We were talking about that the other day, and we're trying to figure out a way to kind of finagle our trip out to Sweden. That'd be nice.
Wow.
I can't think of a single reason for them to take us, though. As hard as I try. There's a ball outside to Carlos Guillen. Carlos had a walk and scored a run in the 4th. 6-0 Detroit. Big 5-run 4th inning. Pulled foul. Two and two. That big rally in the 4th inning started with a couple of walks for the Tigers, Huff and Guillen, and the bottom of the lineup made good on those walks. And Jim Leland's watching his offense perk up a little bit. Of course, that really has never been an issue here at home this year. The road, that has been a different story for the offense. Here's the 2-2. Guillen stays alive.
They had a nice road trip, though. They dropped 2 of 3 in Oakland before going down to Anaheim and winning 2 of 3. And so that was a nice comeback trip for them, because that trip could have gotten ugly. Verlander took the ball on that Monday night in Los Angeles, which always helps.
Driven toward left field, slicing away, and foul. 2-2 on Carlos Guillen. Well, you get the feeling that the Tigers maybe should have won 2 out of 3 in that series against the Athletics, a team that has been struggling this year. Of course, they've had a makeover in the second half in terms of their roster. But Oakland won 2 out of 3, so it was a nice rebound for the team in Anaheim. Would have been a really nice trip, though. Breaking ball missing outside. 3-2 on Guillen. Tigers coming into play tonight with a solid 4-game lead on Chicago, and the White Sox taking on the Yankees tonight. And it's 2-0 Yankees in that game in the 7th.
One of the advantages of the Tigers having a 6-run lead here in the bottom half of the 5th inning is you kind of slow down the Tampa Bay Rays from a running standpoint. They're our running team, but with a big lead for Detroit, you can kind of negate that. Tigers did a pretty nice job of that in Los Angeles as well until the 3rd and final game when the Angels stole 5 bases.
Wave and a miss, and Garza strikes out Guillen. There's 5 strikeouts for Matt Garza. We'll go to the 6th. Men reached. He pitched out of that jam. He'll face Pena here in the 6th inning. Then Burrell and Ibar. Porcello has given up just 2 hits so far in this game, and a ball outside to Carlos Pena. He is 0 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball.
With that strikeout, Carlos has struck out 153 times this year.
In the air to right field, hit well. Maglio going back on it, right at the warning track. 1 out. Pitch count at 87.
Well, you know that he's got 1 more inning, which would be this inning, and then more than likely Jim will go to his bullpen to get the final 9 outs of the game. Porcello has not thrown 100 pitches in a game all season.
It's kind of amazing when you consider this is what, his 24th start. But that just goes to show how much they've been limiting his innings as Minor and Fruteini warm up. It's pulled down the left field line, foul.
Well, Jim has just done a really nice job of protecting the tender arm of Porcello, as do most managers when they have a very young pitcher.
Well, that's not to say that Porcello has not come close. In fact, he threw 99 pitches back in June at Pittsburgh in a 3-1 win. 1-2 on Burrell.
So with all the starts that Porcello has had this year, he pretty much is averaging 5 innings a game.
That's fair to say. Pretty much. And then they skipped him right before the All-Star break, right?
Yes.
Give him a little extra rest. Missed it high, 3-2.
Then he got himself another little 5-game break when he and Euclid had a little brouhaha in Beantown.
That's to the gap in right field. That looks like trouble. It's going to get down all the way to the warning track. Ordonez out there to get it. And it's a double for Pat Burrell.
The second baseman, Willie Ibar.
Comcast is telling us that Porcello has touched 95 with his fastball. That was back in the first, and I'm sure he's done it a couple of other times. He's gone as low as 78 with his changeup. And there that changeup is right on cue at 78 miles an hour.
Laird able to block it. 1-0 on Willie Ibar. When Porcello goes at least 6 innings this year, the Tigers are 7-1.
He's got a lot of run support too.
That certainly helps, and certainly he's gotten a lot tonight. They got a run in the second and then 5 more in the fourth.
Offense usually shows up for the youngster.
Two and one.
Good pitch.
Ibar is 0 for 2, couple of ground balls. And that one just missed. 3-1. Tigers have been much better with men in scoring position tonight. 4 for 6. Three and one on Willie Ibar. And he sends a ground ball to first. Cabrera has it, stumbles, but he'll get there. Move the runner up to third base, 2 gone. Burrell advances.
The catcher, GRANDERSON.
And now a 2-out chance for Greg Zaun. Three hits allowed tonight for Porcello. That's it. Even a miss. 0-1. Zaun is 0 for 2. He hit his first home run in a Tampa uniform against the Blue Jays, and it was against Roy Halladay, who he spent, I don't know, about 5 years in Toronto catching for. Zaun knows exactly how good Halladay is. No balls, 2 strikes. Porcello has hit the 100 mark. This is 101, and it's fouled back out of play. First time this year Porcello has thrown 100 pitches. Trying to put away Greg Zaun. Fouled back out of play. This will get back into the seats. here at Comerica Park after a 16-minute rain delay tonight in downtown Detroit. Turned into a nice night. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, glad you're with us here this evening. Along with Brady Klima, our producer, and Mark Isofano directing tonight. The 0-2 is outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. First of 4 between these two teams. This series will spill into Monday. Day games on Sunday and Monday. Now the 1-2. Right back up the middle, and it's going to get into center field. That thing came right back at Porcello. It'll drive in the first Tampa run, a 2-out single by Greg Zaun. His 21st RBI of the year. And here comes Jim Leland. That's going to be it. So he has made the signal to the bullpen with Gabe Gross due up. Looks like they want Fute knee. And so Porcello will walk off the mound, give up the baseball, leading at 6-1. Nice job tonight. In a wall side windows pitching change as Porcello makes his exit. Detroit.
Well, he had a really good slider today, go along with a really nice two-seam fastball. He's got one that goes east, it goes west. He also has the riding fastball he'll climb the ladder with, and his mound presence is tremendous. Jim tried to get him through 6 today, but after throwing just over 100 pitches, he got him out, and that's the first time this year Porcello has cracked the 100-pitch barrier.
And to be exact, 104 pitches as Fute Knee takes over.
Knee's numbers are lights out. Who would have thunk that he would be pitching as well as he has pitched in the major leagues for the first time, a team in first place in the pennant race? He has been tremendous for the Tigers.
Start of the year in the minor leagues, and here he is in a pennant race now. As we approach September, Gabe Gross will face him, and look at a strike, 0-1.
But to do what the Tigers have done this year, and that's to stay in first place for 4 months. They've been there since May 10th. You need some contributions from guys that you weren't necessarily counting on at the beginning of the year.
And Knee would be one of those guys. The 0-1. Popped him up. Left side of the infield. Here comes in. He's under it. Fute Knee gets it done. And the side retired. They get a run of the inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th.
and Gross dives for it and misses it. Huff was standing on third base at the time, able to come home and score, and the Tigers went on to score 5 runs after that in the 4th inning. Clearly one of the biggest plays of the game. Coors Light Freeze Cam, always brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Well, so far so good for the Tigers here. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Tampa has made a pitching change in a 6-1 ball game. And Lance Cormier will come on and throw for the Tampa Bay Rays.
He comes in with a pretty good record, 2-1. He has 3 holds, a respectable earned run average. Tampa's got a really good bullpen. He's not a strikeout pitcher. And just 32 strikeouts in 63 and 2/3 innings against 17 walks. So he pitches to some contact.
Meanwhile, Jim Hickey still on the telephone, chatting with his bullpen. So Cormier facing Brandon Inge here in the bottom of the 6th. Brandon hit a home run his first time up, and then singled and scored his second time up. Here's Cormier's 0-1. Ground ball left side. Dropped momentarily by Bartlett, but he has enough time to get it there. 1 gone. By the way, while we've got a second here, I want to wish Diane and Jim Bodie a happy 4th anniversary tonight. Jim, of course, works in our video room here at the ballpark, and they're celebrating an anniversary tonight. Jim's got to work.
How about that?
But happy anniversary nonetheless, guys.
Number 4?
Number 4.
Congratulations.
Here is Gerald Laird, who doubled in 2 in the 4th inning, which remains the biggest inning of the game for the Tigers, that 5-run 4th. Well, how about 7, 8, 9 tonight for Detroit?
They've been getting busy.
Laird now with 27 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looks like the Twins have made a trade. They've landed reliever John Roush from the Diamondbacks.
Twins have been busy this year. That's about the 3rd acquisition they've made since the deadline.
You know, it's funny because as that ball misses high, everybody thinks July 31st and that's it. You know, a lot of deals are made in the month of August.
Yes, there are.
Players just have to go through waivers. And there is also word coming out that the Rays may be trying to deal Scott Kazmir to the Angels. That has not been finalized yet.
I heard that. Well, we were out in Anaheim just a couple of days ago, and Tony Riggins said as much. They were trying to find themselves another pitcher, another starter, preferably.
Well, Scott Kazmir is a guy that has had some success at the big league level. Bounced right back up the middle, and that's through, and Laird has his 2nd hit.
Kazmir's last start, just maybe yesterday, was tremendous for Tampa.
8-7 with a 5.92 ERA this year, Kazmir.
Yeah, his arm is much better than a 5+ ERA. Left-handed, 92, 93, some movement, nice slider.
Here is Adam Everett, who has doubled in a pair tonight. Tigers have just picked up their 6th hit. Strike 1. More action in the bullpen for the Rays. Chad Bradford, the veteran right-hander, submariner, tuning up. Five of the 6 hits tonight for the Tigers from 7, 8, 9. That might be a double play ball there. There's one. Ibar's relay is safe. He pulled him off the bag. Pena just could not hang on to the bag, and a big takeout down at second by Laird might have helped.
And Tigers have some aggressive base runners, especially in situations where they can take out that second baseman or shortstop trying to turn it over. And just by Laird clipping Ibar, Ibar was not accurate with his throw.
It'll keep the inning going for Curtis Granderson, not before we get another visit to the mound from Jim Hickey. Well, it appears that Chicago has now tied up the Yankees. Yep, that's in the 7th, 2-2. Damon and Jeter with home runs for New York. White Sox got 2 in the 7th. Meanwhile, Minnesota leading Texas 3-0 in the 4th inning. Keep our eyes on those games as well. Here's Granderson. I love how most players this time of the year admit or say that they do not scoreboard watch. But I got to believe that most of them actually do.
For sure.
Well, they all say, yeah, there's just too much time. Like, even managers do the same thing. Yeah, we don't watch the scoreboard. We just concentrate on our own game.
Yeah, right.
You're not buying either, are you?
None of that. It's a fun time of year, though. I mean, obviously, if you're doing some scoreboard watching, your team's in a pretty good situation.
Driven to right field, sinking, base hit. Granderson has another hit. Meanwhile, Everett goes all the way to third base. And Everett put runners at first and third. Well, speaking of scoreboard watching, you know most guys do it, and Adam Everett talks about scoreboard watching here late in the season.
I've always been told by veteran guys in years past that you really don't start scoreboard watching until September because that's when it really starts to count. So, you know, yeah, I think we're close enough now to where you can start to look, and hopefully we can widen this thing out a little bit.
I would say so. You're getting pretty close. Just a couple of days left in August. There's no time left for Cormier, though. He's out of the game. They will go to the bullpen. Bradford comes trotting in, and we'll be back. Is the new pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, he's missed 98 games this season due to some surgery on the elbow. But when he has been out there, he's done a decent job for Joe Madden's Rays. Elbow surgery February 5th. Missed the first 75 games of the year.
That's what you were talking about, their bullpen and how good that they have been.
3.53, best in the American League. Even better than Boston.
So Bradford will come out and try and get the final out. He'll face Placido Polanco. Bradford's a guy that has been in the big leagues a long time. This is his 12th major league season. He has pitched in 7 postseasons with 5 different teams.
He's always that hired gun down the stretch. Right arm, submariner. Lots of movement, lots of sink on his fastball.
Polanco is 0 for 3. And he floats one in a little bit low. Nope, that was in for a strike. 0-1. Everett is the runner at third base. And you've got Curtis Granderson at first. Polanco just 1 for 4 career against Bradford. Ordonez, the on-deck man, is 1 for 10. There's a ground ball to third. Longoria has it. And that'll do it for the Tigers. So we get a couple of runners. Strand 2. We're on our way to the 7th inning. It is 6-1 Detroit. Text poll question again tonight. Which has been Dave Dombrowski's best trade in your opinion? Is it Carlos Guillen, Placido Polanco, or Edwin Jackson? You could text A, B, or C to 37338 or FSDET. And right now Polanco is the runaway leader.
How about that?
Kind of surprising. You know, I think I would pick Polanco just basically because, you know, he's done it for a few years now. But boy, that Jackson deal and the Guillen deal, very good.
That Cabrera deal wasn't too shabby either now. I mean, I know we gave up a lot, but most of those guys that we gave up for Cabrera are not helping the Florida Marlins in the major leagues right now.
Ryan Rayburn takes over in left field. Final results coming up on Tigers Live after the game. Brandon Lyon is the new Tigers pitcher. And he's facing B.J. Upton to lead it off in the 7th. A wave and a miss. That last check, really the only guy in that Cabrera deal was Burt Badenhop that has done anything, I think, at the big league level.
Yeah, that was a nice deal for Detroit.
0-2.
They had to get into Mr. Illich's pocketbook a little bit to keep him around, but it was a nice deal.
Yep, there's always the other end of it, I suppose. But the deal itself was good. Lyon just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That cut fastball that Lyon is featuring these days is a great pitch. I mean, it's just 90 miles an hour with a lot of late life to it.
Ooh. Down goes Upton, and Laird will throw him out, completing the strikeout.
3 cut fastballs at 90 miles an hour, and then he comes from the same arm slot and throws at Uncle Charlie up there at 78.
So with 1 away, here is Jason Bartlett at the top of the lineup. He has been on base once via a walk back in the 3rd, 0 for 2. We were talking about Fouté in the last half inning. He came on to get the final out. Opponents now are just 2 for their last 37 against Knee.
He's been lights out.
2 for 37. That's unbelievable. That covers 8 outings back to August the 2nd. Here's the 1-1 to Bartlett. He's got it working tonight, 1-2.
Back into the Tigers bullpen has been really good. And Nee, C, Lyon, Rodney. I mean, usually when those four are pitching, and the Tigers are winning some games.
Now the 1-2. Well, Leland has, for the most part this season, been trying to get to the point in the year where he can run these guys out in that order and get to games where he's got his guys slotted, and if he can get them slotted, he'll take his chances. The 2-2 fouled away. And really, I think that's all most managers want. I mean, they want to get to the 7th inning with the lead, where they got their 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys all good to go. But Fute Nee has been kind of a wild card for this bullpen.
We might have to get Nee to the barbershop.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Hair's getting a little bit long. Got some bangs going.
No, you did.
Not quite there yet, but. Oh, the 2-2 pitch is hit hard right at the shortstop on one hop. Everett. 2 gone.
Maybe that's a new look, though.
Oh, it's going to get back to him. You know it will. 2 gone. Well, here is Carl Crawford. Infield hit, a sacrifice, and a fly ball. There's the strike. I would assume this is not exactly a batting stance you would teach most youngsters, is it?
No, he looks like he's wide open, spread out, doesn't stride a whole lot with that front foot, just kind of picks it up and puts it right back down. But he does some damage. Sometimes it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. It's all about getting those hands in a really nice position while the ball's on its way, which allows you to generate some bat speed, and Crawford can do that. But he looks uncomfortable.
Little roller back up the middle. Polanco going to have to hurry. And he got him by half a step. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Lyons. Stretch time here at the ballpark. It's 6-1 Detroit. Field scoring a couple of runs to give the Tigers a 3-0 lead at that point. And then Adam Everett, the number 9 hitter, follows with a 2-run double down the left field line. That set up Curtis Granderson. Grandy doubling, knocking in yet another up against the wall in right field. That scored Everett, and that made it 6-0 Tigers at that point. In our Comerica game summary, Rick Porcello 5 2/3. He allowed just 1 earned run with 5 strikeouts. The first time he reaches the 100 pitch plateau. That big 4-run, or that 4th inning, I should say, for the Tigers. And Inge has had a nice night as well, with a couple of runs scored and a homer. And that's a pretty good look right there.
Now, can you get that in the team shot?
I'm doubting that you probably could. Here's Ordonez leading it off. That takes some special work right there.
It did. I'm glad we put him on television. That's just his bald head, isn't it?
Yes, it is, with a little paint going. That's not a mask.
That's nice.
The stitches are very authentic.
Throw a nice slider with that.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Driven to the air down the left field line. This one is getting up. Crawford is going back, and he's going to make the catch right in front of the wall at 345.
If it doesn't leave the yard, between Upton in center and Crawford in left, they're going to run it down. They've got that kind of speed. And Upton plays the shallowest center field of any of the center fielders in the American League. The shallowest. He might want to back up a couple steps with this guy standing in the batter's box, however.
That is true. That would be Miguel Cabrera.
He can burn you. Now look at all the room behind Crawford, which gives you an idea of how shallow he's playing. And he's not a center fielder by trade. He came up as an infielder.
Upton, you mean?
Upton.
Yes. Well, he's got the speed to burn. 420 to dead center. If it's hit over his head, he may be running hard. Cabrera trying to extend that 11-game hitting streak. One ball and 2 strikes. Chad Bradford came on in the 6th inning after Cormier pitched. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. It's an 0 for 4 tonight for Cabrera. 2 gone.
Most guys' breaking balls have a little tilt to them. And Bradford, when he throws his breaking ball, it has some rise action to it.
Joe Madden wants to go right back to the bullpen, so Bradford is out. Aubrey Huff is due. And the Rays go right back to the pen. We'll step aside. Another pitching change in this one.
Authentic Tigers gear, including caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and a whole lot more. Get your Tigers gear straight from the source at thetigers.com shop. And you might just find one of those in there.
If you're lucky. This guy's getting a lot of airtime tonight.
Yeah, he is. Throwing them back, too.
So Aubrey Huff will be the hitter now, and he will face Randy Choate. Huff in this ball game has a walk and a run scored, 0 for 2 otherwise. Lefty facing lefty here. First pitch in there for a strike.
And Joe Madden still managing this game like it's a very close game. And 43rd game for Choate. But he didn't pitch a whole lot. He's a specialist in every sense of the word.
Fly ball, shallow right field. Gabe Gross coming in, and Choate does his job. Faces one batter, gets him to fly out. 7 in the books as we travel to the 8th. 6-1 Detroit. Temperature in the 60s, holding steady. Clete Thomas is the new right fielder. He's in for Maglio, and here we go in the 8th. First pitch is swung on and tipped off the bat of Evan Longoria. And Carlos Pena and Pat Burrell here in the 8th inning. Brandon Lyon came on to throw a 1-2-3 7th. Leland gives him his 2nd inning of work. Longoria is 0 for 3 in a swing and a miss. 0-2.
Tigers would not be where they are without Lyon in the work that he has done for the better part of 2 months now. He gave up a home run in Anaheim just a couple of days ago, but that was the first time he had given up a run in a long time.
Yeah, like forever. Jim Leland was talking about that the very next day. He said, you know, the way this guy's been pitching, you've got to excuse that happening every now and then.
Oh, for sure.
The 1-2 tipped out of the glove of Laird, unable to hold on to it.
And that was in that game where the Tigers had the 10-run lead, and the Angels brought the tying run to the plate in the 8th inning, and Jim Leland had to go get Fernando Rodney for a 4-out save, his first 4-out save of the year.
Breaking ball got him looking. Longoria disagrees, but he walks back to the bench.
That's nasty. Nothing that Lyon is throwing these days is straight. You know he's got that real good cut fastball, but he also has impeccable control with that slow lollipop breaking ball. Exmo really going to give us a good look at it.
Here's Carlos Pena with 1 out. 2nd strikeout for Brandon Lyon. Swing and a miss. Well, there you go. Here are the splits in the second half for Brandon Lyon. Really good.
Carlos Pena may be one of the nicest guys in professional baseball. top-notch, great guy.
Great family.
Good human being. They don't come much better than this.
He was a joy to be around when he was in Detroit. And, of course, Carlos played here 02 through 05. But has really found a nice landing spot in Tampa.
Sometimes it takes a while for guys to mature.
Pull down the first baseline right at Cabrera. And Miguel takes it himself. 2 gone.
Carlos had that monster second half in 2005, and then he went to spring training under a new staff led by Jim Leland, and he just got outplayed by Chris Shelton.
Yeah.
And of course we know what Shelton was able to do in the month of April in 06, but Pena has went on to carve out a really nice niche for himself in Tampa.
Now Pat Burrell. Only 4 hits allowed tonight by Tigers pitching. Porcello started this one, needed some help from Knee in the 6th, and Lyon has been on since. Fly ball, center field, and Curtis Granderson cruising over a 1-2-3 inning. Tigers still lead 6-1. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Have a Beaumont doctor. Well, what else is going on tonight in the Central Division? Let's see. It is still 2-2. Chicago and the Yankees, bottom of the 8th inning, and Minnesota is still leading Texas 3-0 in the 6th.
Minnesota has been playing some really good baseball for about a couple weeks here now.
They're not going away, are they?
No, they're not.
Ron Gardenhire has that team in the hunt in September, it seems, every single season. Here, the Tigers lead by a score of 6-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Ryan Rayburn will get his first at bat. New pitcher is Russ Springer.
59th game total for Russ Springer this year, but only 10 with Tampa Bay Rays. He was claimed off waivers from the Oakland Athletics on August 8th.
Rayburn, meanwhile, has a career-high 10 home runs. Ryan had that 2-homer game on the 21st in Oakland on the last trip. .367 average over his last 24 games. That's how hot he has been. The month of August has been really good to Ryan Rayburn. The 1-1 pitch. Springer is 40 years old. 17th, count them, 17th big league season. It's a long time.
Well traveled. Still has a real good arm. Look at there, 91 on the black.
The Rays are his 9th team. He's been with the Yankees, the Angels, the Phillies, the Astros, the D-backs, Braves, Cardinals, and A's. Back up the middle into center. He took a breaking ball and slapped it right into center field. Rayburn has a leadoff single.
Yeah, Rayburn got himself a breaking ball. It's not a bad pitch and by Springer, but it's slow enough. And a guy with 2 strikes, even though the body's out in front, if you keep your hands back, you've still got a chance to do some damage. And that ball right off the end of the bat, but landed softly in center field. A couple of buddies catching up with one another, Rayburn and Pena.
A little bit of rain starting to fall down at the ballpark. We dodged it for most of the night. Here's Brandon Inge. It's been a good night for Inge in terms of what he's done offensively. A solo homer in the 2nd, got the Tigers on the board. He singled and scored in the 4th. Oh, 0-2. When you're a guy like Russ Springer and you've been around as long as he has, every year you might probably go through the, well, do you think I can pitch another year? Yeah, I could probably go another year. And then you go through another season and the next season rolls around. You think I can make it another year?
Yeah.
And he just keeps doing it and doing it.
The toughest part when you get a little older is preparing yourself for the upcoming season, because really these days you're talking 2-3 weeks after the World Series, and baseball players are starting to condition themselves for the upcoming season. They take a little bit of a break around Thanksgiving and then the holidays, Christmas time, New Year's, but right after that they're going full speed again. It is not like it used to be where guys used spring training to get in shape.
722 games in his career. So you pretty much have to make that determination fairly quickly once the season ends if you want to give it another shot. That's off the end of the bat. Pena will fire to second. They'll get one there, and the relay, they almost got a double play. Nice hop out there. It's short by Bartlett over the base runner.
Well, you know, Brandon's not running well, and even after he took his first swing, you could tell that something was not quite right. And he's just kind of cruising here. But he's giving you everything he's got, which is all you can ask for. Give me everything that you've got.
Here is Gerald Laird with 1 on and 1 out. Ball 1 inside. Gerald with 2 RBIs tonight. They both came on the double in the 4th inning. It's his first multiple RBI game since the 3rd of July when the Tigers were in Minnesota. Fouled straight back, 1-1. Laird now has driven in 27 this year. He's had 2 hits. He's also been hit by a pitch tonight. That was by the since departed starter, Matt Garza.
Well, Gerald came in basically a .250 career hitter, so he is about 20 points below that. And Gerald understands this has not really been a good offensive season for him, but it's probably been his best season behind the plate.
And it's also been the season in which he's played more games than any other year. So he's been out there just about every day. Tomorrow the Tigers will be sending Nate Robertson to the hill, making the start. David Price will go for the Tampa Bay Rays. Popped him up. Straight into the rain where Ibar is waiting. 2 gone.
The shortstop,
There's Nate. He's got to be fired up about his start tomorrow. Of course, he had the elbow surgery. Went down to the minor leagues to rehab, and he'll get the call tomorrow.
They say he was throwing the ball awfully well down there in his rehab stints. Good for him. Good to see him back.
And as the Tigers usually do when they need someone, they'll make a call down to Toledo and say who's the best man for the job, who's been going as good as it gets at this point. And Robertson was the guy that they recommended.
Yeah, numbers are good. 21 strikeouts, 19 innings, 4 walks.
Wow, really good. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fouled away. 0-2 on Adam Everett, who has a 2-run double. The rest of the series has Verlander on Sunday, Washburn on Monday. Tigers getting a look at a couple of the big pitching prospects in this Tampa system. Price tomorrow, and Jeff Neiman will throw the game on Sunday.
Neiman has had a good year.
He really has. 12-game winner. In the air to right field. Gabe Gross is there, and that is that for Detroit. They get a leadoff single, strand of man. We go to the ninth. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Last call for the Rays as we go to the ninth, and they will face a new Tigers pitcher. Bobby C. will come on.
Yeah, Bobby has done a nice job this year against left-handers and right-handers. Combined, that bottom note, 209 batting average against Bobby. Surrendered 2 home runs in 55 games. So he's keeping them in the ballpark.
Bobby, who began his big league career with Tampa back in 2001. Facing Willie Ibar to lead things off here in the ninth. 6-1 Detroit. First pitch inside to Ibar. Zahn due up next, and then Gross. Ibar tonight is 0 for 3 each time, hitting the ball on the ground. There's a strike. 1-1. 1-2 on Ibar. Nice job tonight by the Tigers bullpen. Fute Nee came on, got 1 out in the 6th. Brandon Lyon 6 up, 6 down, and 2 innings of work. And he missed high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tigers have 8 hits in this game and only 4 for the Tampa Rays. Against 4 Tigers pitchers. Swing and a miss. C records a strikeout. 1 gone. That's 8 strikeouts now for Tigers pitching tonight. Here is Greg Zahn. He will bat now with 1 out. Zahn had an RBI single in the 6th inning, driving in the only Tampa run tonight. He came with 2 outs off Porcello, and that would be the last hitter that Rick would face tonight. Porcello threw a season high 104 pitches, the first time this year that he's gone over the 100 mark. Here's the 0-1, and it's a ball inside.
They might have to bust out a bottle of champagne tonight for Rick. No, oh, take that back. He's only 20.
No.
He's too young.
Wait 1 more year.
He's still too young.
Bottle of root beer. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1 now the count on Zahn. Gabe Gross would have been next, but Gabe Kapler has moved to the on-deck circuit.
Gabe Kapler.
There he is. Fouled away.
I used to have a body like that.
When? You talking about Kapler's?
Yeah. He chiseled, isn't he?
He is. He is still chiseled. 2-2. Bouncing ball toward first base. That is a fair ball. Cabrera has it. C will cover. 2 gone.
And when you play that position, you know all you have to do is field the baseball, and the pitcher will always be there for you.
So here is Kapler to pinch hit. Final chance now for the Tampa Rays. Tigers on top, 6-1 with 1 more out to get. In his 11th big league season, Kapler better than 35,000 in attendance tonight. They're on their feet.
In between those big league seasons, he took a year off to manage 1 year in A-ball.
Unbelievable. Then he got the itch to play, so he has come back. One to 0 on Gabe Kapler. Now 1-1. Kapler didn't like that call. Well, Kapler's 5 home runs have come against left-handed pitching. And he checked it outside. They want the appeal, but won't get it. Home plate umpire Jerry Davis said we don't need it. He didn't go. 2-1. Driven in the air, deep into left field. He may have gotten another lefty, and he has. It's gone, a home run for Kepler. A pinch hit home run. And it's 6-2.
Only the third home run that Bobby C. has surrendered in this year in 56 appearances.
So Kepler gets him one run closer. Right off the foul pole. Here's B.J. Upton. Fourth career pinch hit home run for Kepler. And that is only their fifth hit of the night. Ball one missing to B.J. Upton. Two and 0 the count. And now 3-0. So Upton one pitch away from keeping it going and turning things over to the top of the order, where it could get very interesting very quickly as Fernando Rodney starts to warm up in the Detroit bullpen. There's a strike, 3-1. Upton in the ball game is 0 for 2 with a walk. Little pop up, shallow right field. Polanco can't get there. It'll drop in, a base hit. Upton with a half swing, singles into right. Back-to-back hits after the first two men were retired. Jim Leland's making his way out to the mound. Polanco just couldn't get there. Jason Bartlett due up, and he's going to take the baseball away from Bobby C. So the Tigers go to the bullpen. Pitching change will step aside. 6-2 ball game.
We encourage you not to go anywhere as soon as this one is over. Coming up on Tigers Live, we will highlight some strong contributions from the bottom of the Tigers order this evening. Rick Porcello played a numbers game of his own and made a little history in the process. We'll highlight his night. And as always, we'll speak with the skipper, Jim Leland, postgame highlights and a whole lot more coming up immediately following the game on Tigers Live. Right now, we're trying to get that final out as we throw you back to Mario and Rob.
All right, Mickey, thank you. What say we get that final out right now as the rain is really starting to fall here at the ballpark. Jason Bartlett is the batter, and the runner goes, and the ball is off the glove of Laird. Upton is going to go all the way to third base. He was on the move with that pitch that got away from Rodney, and now the runner is at third with 2 outs.
Well, Upton just cruising now. And then he takes a look to see that ball gets away from Gerald and just kind of coast over to third as well.
Boy, it's starting to pour right now at the ballpark, and the Tigers need to get 1 out here. The 1-0. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bartlett.
Rodney's had a really good year. 28 saves. He's blown 1. And he strikes out a batter an inning. And the opponent's hitting .224 against Fernando.
Now it's 1-2. 1 strike away. Here's the 1-2 coming up from Rodney. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No stolen base, by the way, was given to Upton. Defensive indifference and a pass ball allowed him to get to third. Two and 2 on Jason Bartlett. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, is it coming down now. Umbrellas all over the place. And Rodney needs 1 more strike. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he lost him, ball 4. So the Rays certainly not dead yet. The Kepler pinch hit home run gave them a little bit of life. Here is Carl Crawford. He's 1 for 3. Runner going to second, fouled back out of play. Bartlett was on the move. He'll go back. Water's starting to form now on the warning tracks down the third and first base line. It's getting slick. Goes again, fouled away again, and the count is 0-2 on Carl Crawford. Well, here comes the crowd again. For the second straight hitter, Rodney has reduced it to a single strike. Fouled away. Fernando coming on to face Bartlett, who walked. And now Crawford waiting on an 0-2 pitch. Home run, single, and a walk for the Rays here in the 9th. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Rodney puts the finishing touches on this one.
It's a good win for the Tigers. First game of a homestand. Good win.
So the Tigers again win the first of a homestand. They've done that in 8 of